Hello and welcome to the Drywall Podcast. I'm your host, Nick Harmon. I've been in and around the drywall industry for more than 20 years. I've worked in the union, finished piece rate, and worked hourly with many different companies and people spanning the West Coast and beyond. The Drywall Podcast will be exploring the world of drywall and interviewing the professionals that make it happen. This podcast is brought to you by Fresco Harmony. Fresco Harmony is the world's first color joint compound system to create beautiful walls, whether you're going over existing painted texture or level 3 finished drywall.
This is my new least favorite place I've ever been in.
I spent a lot of time here. And trust me, it doesn't get any better.
We'll be discussing all things drywall. This concept began with the Facebook groups picking unique topics, discussing application techniques, and the characters and the comedy that ensued. I had the distinct pleasure of interviewing Joe Koenig of Trim-Tex. If you've never met Joe or been to a Trim-Tex training at their facility in Chicago, I highly recommend. Joe is an extraordinary person who has always been a champion for Fresco Harmony. He's used our products on his own personal homes and supported us throughout our journey. This interview started out a little rocky, but as we go into it, I think that looseness made way for a very raw and honest interview. We talk about racing, we talk about ethics in business, and we talk about some options for Fresco Harmony to grow and potential training coming up at the Trim-Tex facility, possibly in September. I'm excited for you to get a chance to meet Joe, the person in this interview on the Drywall Podcast. Let's get into it. All right.
Unfortunately,
don't sweat it.
And then there's no IT people, so it's always the case when you need them. Yeah, we're not starting out on the right foot here because I'm going to be frustrated. Working with my new system, I'm very frustrated. So it's going to be a shitty interview, right, Nick?
No, it's going to be great.
You're going to have me swearing and stuff.
There's no wrong way to do it.
I'll learn how to do it, but I've got a brand new system here.
Yep, it's okay, man.
Not cooperating.
Whitley.
This is Nick. Say hi.
Hello.
So
Hi, Whitley.
All right.
That's who's that? Wait, who's that in the background that helped you out?
She's the smartest person at Trim-Tex, Whitley.
She's the smartest person in the world.
Oh yeah, we love her. We love her. She saved my. You're gonna get an IT, badge or something here.
Yeah, she gets her.
Later about that stuff. Okay.
She's gonna get her IT scout badge.
Never fails when you're trying. You got something lined up, and you're trying to get in. Even when I did the podcast with Walls and Ceilings, I did that from home and with an iPad. And
yep.
There was some issues with the audio, and
I listened to that and watched it last night. I'm all up to speed.
What'd you think?
It was good. I like Hannah's energy. They're pretty cool over there. I don't. They did a small article on Fresco Harmony once. I'm trying to get myself into the industry, and we'll get into that. We'll talk about that a little more. You, on the other hand, you were, no pun, grandfathered into the industry, so to speak. Your father had established connections, and you also talk about joining the AWCI, or him joining the AWCI, which is interesting to me, and the connections that came from that. So I'm a product manufacturer. Yeah, I'm on the wall sometimes, not as much anymore because I'm doing this type of stuff. But you're a product manufacturer that maybe started in when was it? The late 60s?
Yeah, 1969. Yep.
Okay, so you've had 50 years to pioneer in this industry, and a lot of it happening when the industry was being born. The tools were being created. Ames was coming out. There's a lot of history there. So there's the difference between where you're at in the industry and where I'm at in the industry is I'm coming out with a new product in an industry that's fairly established.
Right.
And that's interesting to me. And also my last interview was with Corey Fisher with the Tech Dry tool. Have you seen that?
I didn't see the podcast, so I don't know what the Tech Dry tool is, to be honest with you.
It's a little, I'll tell you, it's a little tool that has 3 sizes of small blades on it, like a pocket knife. So instead of carrying around a 1 inch, a 1/2 inch, and a 2-inch blade, you have a little pocket knife sort of gadget that you pull out of your pocket, and boom, you hit the 1-inch knife, and you can get those hard to reach areas next to the door and the wall, especially if there's a trim around the door.
Yeah,
you can,
I saw the picture of it on Facebook.
Okay.
But I didn't really associate that was him, and that's who your podcast. I didn't put the three things together.
Yep.
I think it's a smart idea, but you got to have a rag, because now you got to wipe it. You got to put it back in your pocket, loaded with mud.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a small piece of rag with you, right? Don't you think?
Well, or you can wipe it on your knife. But a drywaller, Joe, will just wipe it on their pants.
I know. I saw you smiling. So yeah. I remember I was in Toronto in the high rise in the Shangri-La Hotel or whatever, 67th floor. And they put their tape on. They run the paper through a slop bucket, and they fill it into a bucket.
Oh yeah.
That's around a rope. It's around his neck with a rope.
Yeah.
And the guy is literally pulling it out and slinging it on the wall. And not to alarm you, but I noticed on my neck 2 months ago, I noticed a bump.
Okay.
And it was smaller. And I didn't, I kind of was keeping an eye on it. And then just the last couple of days, I forgot about it. And last couple of days, I felt it, and it's bigger. So, and I went through lung cancer. I'm a lung cancer survivor.
I didn't know that.
And when you're a cancer survivor and you get a strange bump on your body, you take it seriously.
Yeah.
So I went to see my general practitioner doctor first, and then he sent a message over to the oncologist, who now they just happened to call me right when So I got to go in for a CT scan. It's probably nothing, but it could be muscular. It's not skeletal. And I hope and pray it's not it's not a cancer.
Yeah.
But you got to check it out. You got to get that kind of stuff early. So
yes,
if you notice something under your arm, or, you got a bump somewhere that wasn't there, and it's there 2 days, 3 days later, go to the doctor. Don't wait 6 months or a year, because cancer, a lot of cancer doesn't hurt you until it's big. Once it gets big, then it's like, oh shit, why does my stomach hurt? Well,
it spreads.
Yeah, because you got a fucking softball sized tumor inside your body. That's why your stomach hurts.
Yeah, and you can say the F word on the Drywall Podcast. We don't care, Joe.
I love it. Like you said, I got a bit of an edge today. So yeah, we might.
I like it. Hey, and and we'll go. I don't need to. This isn't like I don't have somebody watching over my shoulder, so I can ask you whatever the hell I want. And if there's anything that you don't want to talk about, or something that's edgy, let me know. Or I'll definitely run it by your tech guys or your marketing guys to make sure we don't paint a bad picture of Joe or something weird.
Absolutely. But if you're going to ask me like a trade secret or something, I'll just say, I'd rather not say. I can't.
No. Yeah.
That's something we can't discuss.
That cancer thing, though, is a big deal. My sister gets regular mammograms, and she just had a double mastectomy, and I'll get her permission if she wants me to share it. But she felt it very important to not only talk about it, share it on Facebook, and they sort of caught it. But this came from getting a regular 6-month mammogram.
Sure.
So just to solidify how important it is to get tested, I'm 46.
Yeah.
I need to go in and like get checked out and get tested.
Yeah, and I'll give you some good news. So I've always had a executive physical, a full physical, once a year since I was 30. And when I was in my 40s, the doctor, he kept telling me, it's like, Joe, you're in the prime of your life.
Yeah.
Until you hit 55, you don't have to worry about cancer. You don't have to worry about heart attack. You don't have to worry about clogged artery. Usually you are in the prime. So just eat healthy, exercise, live your life, and enjoy the next 10 years,
Yeah.
So guess what? When I hit 55, May 1st was my birthday. June 8th, we found the cancer in my lung. All right. I thought I turned the ringer off.
That's
now-
okay.
now for sure.
It was good.
Right.
It was good that you got those phone calls.
Well,
So-
I got a CT scan scheduled for Tuesday, which is good. Now, Wednesday night, I drive up to Road America, which is in Wisconsin, and I'm racing my BMW. This is the crown jewel of sports car racing. It's called the June Sprints at Road America. So it's a 65th annual summer classic, they call it the crown jewel of sports car racing. So there are about 500 cars show up, and we bash it out to be the June Sprints champion. So
nice. And you're racing with other cars in that type
Oh,
of
yeah.
situation. So you're
Yeah,
racing
road-
with other cars. Is there bumping and grinding going on?
yeah, it's road racing. There's definitely bumping and grinding. Not quite as much as NASCAR, where they crash each other every 3 laps.
Right.
Right.
Nowadays, I find it. I would love to race cars. There's
Yeah.
there's only so much we can take on in a lifetime. But tell me this real quick. I don't want to get too much into racing, but
Right.
but it does it does interest me, and it's my podcast, so fuck it. I'll ask you whatever I
Yeah.
want.
Talk about-
So now there's a couple questions. Now, when you've been racing for how many years?
So racing cars, I started in 06. I adapted to it pretty quick. I won a lot of races right away. We got into the endurance racing. I think I won the regional endurance racing championship in 08. I got a couple driver of the year awards in 08. I went to the national championship runoffs, SCCA. During my tenure, I've won the June Sprints a couple of times, and which is next weekend. We're going to go for it again on 2 different classes of cars, both BMWs.
Nice.
I am driving better now than I was in 2000. Every year, I just feel that I'm smarter about how I approach
Yes.
my driving. 10 years ago, I was like, hey, let's add some more horsepower. Let's
Yeah.
spend some more money. Let's add horsepower. And it got to a point back then, you could buy an engine for $13,000 for a BMW. And today that engine costs $50,000. So now today, what I say? I say, you know what? Let me improve my driving. There's 2
Yeah.
seconds. There's 3 seconds a lap in my driving. If I put Brian Sellers in the car, who's a pro and a multi-championship pro that runs IMSA and all those Rolex races and everything else. If I put Brian Sellers in my car, he's 2 seconds to 3 seconds a lap faster than I am. And most of where he picks up the time and the speed is in the braking zones. He's better at, I can run 150 miles an hour down the straightaway just like him, and I can hit the brakes pretty much in the same spot that he does, but he hits the brake so perfectly and gets off of it so perfectly and carries more speed into the corner that you and I would be like, holy shit, I'm going to die, because I'm going 80 miles an hour in the corner that I can only handle 70 miles an hour. And there's a big wall over there. So your natural instincts, your survival instincts is what you're basically fighting, your survival instincts to stay alive when you race stuff. Okay.
Love it.
And you have to train your brain, and you have to train your survival brain that, hey, okay, we did it. We're not, I'm not going to touch the brakes this time. We're just going to turn into kink at 130. Road America has the famous corner of the kink. And, in one car, I'm approaching the kink at 135 miles an hour, and you don't touch the brakes. You just lift the throttle, and you drop about 14 miles an hour. That's the perfect sweet spot. And then you just turn in and you're back on.
Have you driven a Tesla yet by chance?
I have driven a Tesla Plaid. One of my friends had. I'm not a big Tesla guy, but a lot of people I know are.
Yeah, we have a Tesla. We have a dual motor, and it has regenerative braking. So that whole braking concept is different in a Tesla. You take because you can have strong regenerative. So when you take your foot off the gas, I mean it powers down. Unlike a combustible engine, totally different model. And now I guess they're doing electric car races. Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's some e-racing going on in Europe. But I think you have 10 different settings for that. Right? You can go 100% or to 0. So
I think, there's settings for everything. You might be able to get into it on the computer. I know that there's 2 distinctive. There's 3. There's heavy, medium, and light.
Right.
And I had it on light for a long time when we first got the car, and now I have it on heavy. And you don't ever have to touch the brake. It'll power down to stop.
Yeah, correct.
It's insane.
You'll never buy a set of brake pads. That's right. You'll go. Personally, for me, I'd run it on medium because I do like a little bit of that regenerative braking. Yeah, that's why I drive a 4-stroke KTM dirt bike and not a 2-stroke KTM dirt bike.
Oh, okay.
The 4 strokes will have a better deceleration than a 2-stroke. A 2-stroke, you let off the throttle, it just coasts.
Yeah. Okay.
A 4-stroke, you let off the throttle, it depending on the gear, you're going to be slowing down.
I love your zest for motorsports. You know what I like, and we don't have to talk about drywall. I don't give a shit. I love the zest. I like it when people are, and you can tell when you talk to somebody, and I'm getting more into this, from a journalistic standpoint, when you talk to somebody and they get excited about something. Sure. To me, that's really key. And you do get excited about Trim-Tex and wall products and stuff like that. But I love, you glow when you talk about motorsports. I love it. That's great.
I'm going to glow about, Trim-Tex too, but I'm going to swing over here. I am passionate about motorsports. I work hard. Core values at Trim-Tex. The number 2 core value, number 1 is learning culture. Number 2 is work hard, play hard.
I like it.
Yeah. So,
I was going to ask you one thing before we get back to the slop box, because I do not want to lose that conversation. Because just thinking about somebody putting mud on tape into a box, it just brings a smile to my face. But you probably enjoyed the movie Ford versus Ferrari, I would guess.
Definitely.
Yeah. That they did a good job with that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so you were telling a story, Toronto. You're in Toronto and you see this guy, he's got a slop box, he's got mud all over him. Is that just to illustrate the mud pigginess of the applicators, or did you have a point to that story?
Well, I'm going to retell the story. So, because we were talking about this new drywall knife, the 2.5-inch, and I'm like, yeah, the guy's going to carry a rag with him.
No,
because he's going to wipe it off and put it back in his pocket. And you're like, no, he's going to wipe it on his pants. I'm like, oh crap.
I love that. Right. I love that.
I'm not a mudslinger. I'm a drywall bead guy. I'm not a mudslinger.
Do you know what drywallers use a rag for?
Bathroom, probably.
they use it for, and now stop, and I could probably get feedback from this, but here's what I use it for: is drying off my tools, especially if they're blue steel, so they don't rust. Yes, that's what a rag is used for in drywall. Yeah. Out in the field, they may use one, but it would be pretty rare for a drywall dude to be carrying around a rag, I think. But who knows, man? Maybe people will be like, Nick, you're an idiot. I love carrying my rag around.
Hey, you know what? Thank you for filling me in on that. So the story is, I'm in Toronto, and I'm with my distributor up on the 67th floor, Shangri-La Hotel. This is 10 or 12 years ago. I can't remember exactly the year. And, they build these high rises one floor at a time. So we go to meet the drywall bead installer, and, nice guy. Every room and every floor of that hotel used Trim-Tex tearaway bead and shadow line J bead. So when they put the drywall to the window return, okay. So when they put the drywall to the return, they slipped on a shadow line J bead. That's a J bead that's got a little bit of a return on it, gives you a little shadowed edge. And then from there, they would go out and, I'm not proud of this, but the union in Toronto, they're big on metal, shiny 90 metal corner bead. And they actually they have their own metal corner bead facility. They roll their own, so to speak. When you roll a cigarette, you roll your own.
Yeah. Or a doobie, Joe.
A doobie. They roll their own. Yeah, that's right. You are from the West Coast. They do roll their own. In Toronto, Joe Koenig says this. They roll their own in Toronto. So, but we got tearaway in the project and hallways, and we got the shadow line J bead around the windows. And I'm talking to the drywall bead installer, and he's like, I'm like, where's your team? Are they off today? Or he's like, no, I'm the only one that does this. I've been here for a year and a half.
Oh, wow.
I've put every piece of corner bead and J bead and tearaway bead up in this hotel. Yeah. Every room, every floor. That's what I've been doing for a year and a half. And I'm like, wow, it's really cool. It's nice to meet you. I love your work ethic. I mean, you're going to go to the same place every day. And as the building gets taller and taller, and 3-4 floors below that, where they're putting another floor on, they're already drywalling and finishing and priming,
Yeah.
But on that floor, so we're walking around looking at, the rest of that floor with the bead that's not mudded yet. And we go into this one unit because it's, hotel rooms. We go into this one unit, and it actually might be condos on the upper area, but we go into this one beautiful unit with a beautiful view, and there's a guy, he's got a bucket with a rope on it around his neck, about waist high, and he's filling it, and he's leaning over, and he's pulling paper tape through a slop box. He's filling this thing till it's bulging at the top, with muddy paper.
Yeah.
And then he goes across the room, and he's slinging the tape up. I think they laid the board down in that job. So he was doing, I don't know why, most commercial jobs, they're vertical, but maybe maybe it was, I don't know.
Depends on the height, probably. Sometimes though, it depends on the height.
But he was slinging tape across the wall, and the guy was covered from head to toe with mud. I mean, literally, I would be hard pressed to find a dry, clean spot on the guy anywhere. Maybe in the middle of his back, there was a 30-inch spot that was mud, and I just had to laugh and smile. And I'm very, I like people, and I like conversation, and I'm a high energy person, and I'm a glass 3/4 full kind of person.
My first question for that guy would have been, have you tried the bazooka or the banjo?
I know.
So that gets me into.
But you would think that he would have a bazooka or that other device, to put the mud on.
Well, it gets me a little bit into like the stubbornness of drywallers to shift. And you and I have talked about this before, and there's a couple of questions buried in here also about the step bowl, which I'm sad about. The movement from, and we can keep this in the interview or not, but this is a real conversation. I sold 2 houses in a row, the entire house to homeowners in step bowl. Yep. I gave that step bowl to the drywall guy that was doing the drywall and asked him if he wanted to put it on. And he had no clue. It was like I brought something from outer space and tried to give it to him. And he was like, no. And he picked up a piece of regular bull nose and he was like this. And I was like, no, that's not what we're doing. Like he couldn't even wrap his brain that you could even put a bead like that onto the wall. And I had already sold the homeowner on the entire house. And then I did another house. This is the only 2 houses I've ever done.
Yeah.
And I did them both, the entire house in Fresco Harmony and Step Bowl. So when people
Yeah.
say they can't sell it, or that that doesn't work in my area, or any of the excuses, I'm always like, well, I think it's a selling issue. And what's sad is that I was really pushing it, and it baffles the mind that custom home builders aren't using chamfer, Step Bowl, these finishes so regularly that it's a staple. And not only are they not using it regularly, but Trim-Tex had to discontinue or limit the amount that you're making because it just wasn't selling. And you guys are tired of pushing it.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I would absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna kind of go backwards on it, so bear with me. So, we have 2 warehouses. We have the mothership. We have our global manufacturing headquarters in Lincolnwood, Illinois, centrally located in the United States. We can ship product next day, 2 days, just about everywhere. The tip of Florida, 3 days. California was always a stretch because there was snow in the mountains, and sometimes it would be 5-7 days to get product out there. So we opened up a warehouse in Orange, and it services everything west of the tip of the Rocky Mountains. So where you live, you're serviced out of the West Coast Distribution Center in Orange, California. Our partner up in Canada, Wallboard Trim and Tool, they've got 2 warehouses. There were one of them in Ontario, and also in Calgary. Our partner down in Australia, Wallboard Tool, they've got 4 warehouses in Australia, and they, between those 2 partners / customers / distributors, they service probably about 800 locations. Okay. So, and Trim-Tex in the United States, there is over 1,500 gypsum supply dealers. That's who we sell. So we're just like GM. Okay. We don't sell our corner bead to you, right, Nick? You got to buy it from a gypsum supply dealer.
Mm-hmm.
So, so we rely on our gypsum supply dealers to stock and sell our products. Well,
Okay.
most of them don't stock the fringe items like steppable, or if there's a super seal tearaway with a gasket on there, what have you. Contractors, of the 300 different profiles that we make in 600 different lengths, a typical gypsum supply dealer is going to stock 20 or 30 items if we're lucky, not 300.
So here's a question. Why couldn't you guys just strictly have a selection of specialty beads or items that you just sell online directly from the plant, specialty order only?
Well, that's a great idea. And of course, everybody thinks of that, and the world is probably going to go that direction.
Sure.
But that angers your dealers. And some of our dealers are multi-million-dollar customers. So when
if they're not selling the product, who cares? If they don't want to sell the product, then we'll sell it on our website. And if you don't sell a certain amount of it, then we are going to sell it on the website on a certain specific category of like, hey, you guys don't carry this product in your store. You don't want to carry it. It's available on the Trim-Tex website. You can still get chamfer. You can still get all the cool drywall art stuff because you had some pioneers out there that were pushing it.
Yeah, well, we definitely have gone down that path. We had an EStore, and it was really designed to fulfill exactly what you're talking about. The contractor that needs some fringe item that the dealers would never stock. They need that fringe item because it does solve an issue. We're all about solutions. So all of our products provide solutions, whether it's aesthetic or whether it's functional, like crack prevention. So we had a store, and we sold small items, and then we did sell some bead on there, but there's two things happen. Logistics part of it is absolutely broken.
Sure.
UPS stopped taking 10-foot product, and they started charging so much money to ship a 9-foot. So with UPS, you got to go 114 inches girth and length. So they got to wrap the chain. They got to wrap the chain around the box at the bottom, and then you got to stretch it out to the other end. If it's longer than that dimension, and this was 10 years ago, then you had to pay a $50 charge. Well, guess what they're doing today? They're charging that. They don't even want anything over 4 feet. So
interesting.
I could, if I wanted
time to go to FedEx, huh?
Well, no, I mean, they're the same. It's the same.
They're the same. Yeah.
If I want to ship you, Nick Harmon, if I want to send you a birthday present tomorrow, I'm going to send you 2 boxes of Steppable. Okay. I can't do it. It's a $250 shipment, LTL trucking.
Okay.
And it has to be shipped to a deliverable address. It cannot be shipped to your home. If it's shipped to your home, there's another $100 charge on top of that.
Weird.
So yeah, I'm going to ship you $100 worth of 2 boxes of Steppable, which is $50 or $60 a box retail, right? Maybe it's 70. I don't know. I don't keep up with the exact. I can't tell people how to sell my product either. They can adjust the price a little bit.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
For me to send $100 of product and spend.
Yeah. Great answer. Great answer.
$350 logistics charge.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what killed my product.
Yep.
That's what kills those fringe products is we don't have a store. And that's the first reason. The second reason is one of my competitors went to one of my bigger customers and said, hey, did you know Trim-Tex is competing against you? They're selling their own product from their own e-commerce store against you, and we weren't doing that. We were charging, much higher. We were charging retail plus 10%. Okay.
What a douchebag.
Yeah. What a douchebag. Right. So, but he got my customer all riled up. He wasn't a douchebag.
I'm sure he did.
He was a smart douchebag.
Yeah.
And he riled up my customer, and I got a phone call, and my customer service manager got a phone call, and my sales manager got a phone call. And through all that uproar, we just looked at each other and we're like, we did $40,000 on our EStore last year. Is it really worth pissing off a $2 million customer? That's, so mad they're ready to switch over to the competitor, which I doubt they were, because the competitor doesn't make all those products anyways.
Yeah.
But, so the bluff was set, and we closed our EStore.
Yeah. Fair enough. Those are great. Those are great answers. And these are questions, I'm just thinking of what drywall, what kind of drywallers. Drywallers would love to hear about the motorsports for sure. But these types of questions I would say are on the forefront of the drywall guys' minds. I don't want to get in too much into manufacturing and things like that. You've taken your father's business and you've done extremely well with it. Mm-hmm. I would like to talk about though Katie. So she's next in command. Did I read something that there's a 3rd generation Koenig coming into focus? Now, is her last name Koenig, or did she get married and change it?
Yeah, she is married, and she just had her 2nd baby. So she's on a.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I've got 5 grandchildren now. So
yeah.
New chapter. So Katie, let me just say this. So Katie is 3rd generation.
Yep. It's awesome.
We are a family-owned company. We're 53 years in business. We've made a profit for 53 years. Not always as good as we would have liked, because there were some lean years, in 2008 to, for 10 years up until about 17, 18. It took us 10 years to recover from the big depression. I mean, recession. Did I say depression?
You weathered the storm.
Did I say recession, or did I say depression? Whatever.
Some people may have been depressed.
We were depressed, yeah, at times. But so family wise, we have a Marianne. So the third generation of Trim-Tex, Laura's husband Mike was with Liberty Mutual, the company with all the stupid commercials. Yeah. That company. Anyways, Liberty.
Yeah.
That company, I was so impressed with how he was progressing through the company. I brought him here, gave him a tour, and I made him an offer to come work
hey buddy, your family, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your time on these guys.
Yeah,
you need to, you headhunted him.
I did. And I tell you what, you never fill a family business with family. They have to earn their way in, and not all of them. It's not the right gig for everybody. So to do it correctly, you have to kind of be picky and choosy about, you can give everyone a trial,
sure,
but let's be fair to everyone. It's not working out. So I headhunted Mike Garcia. He is now, after 9 years, he is currently the VP of sales.
Okay.
And he's got 16 people under him. We have technical salespeople and we have distributor sales.
What makes Mike so good?
Mike is he's 36 years old, and Mike is just super smart. He's willing to learn. He's always doing podcasts. He's always listening to podcasts and books on tape on his commute. He's part of the Loyola Family Business Council, which is in Loyola University, which is has been built to strengthen family businesses. So he's a junior member of that. He's a leader with AWCI. He's one of the emerging leaders with the AWCI right now.
Okay.
Which you should join, by the way, if you're not a member.
I was going to get to that. I go to Intex. Intex was on the list to talk about. You're involved. It seems like, stop me if I'm wrong, but if you're not a member of the AWCI and you go to the Index show, it's a very limited experience. Like, you almost need to be with that in crowd to experience the show as it was meant to be experienced. I wouldn't consider Intex like an industry show. There was like 12 hours of like floor time, which was weird to me, but there was a lot of behind the scenes action that was going on that I did not partake in, specifically because I'm not an AWCI member.
Correct. You're not allowed in. You could have gone to the emerging leaders meeting and saw Mike. So I'm going to touch on that point. Let me just say that Mike, Mike is doing a fantastic job, and super proud of him. I don't think of him as a family member. He's a Marian, he's just Mike Garcia, and he's awesome.
Yeah.
And he does a fabulous job. He and I, along with 3 other members, we have a group that we call Vinylworks, kind of like the Skunk Works Lockheed thing, where they had the secret room where they developed all those cool fighter jets.
Yeah.
So we are Vinylworks is we're the governing body for all the decisions at Trim-Tex about, should we innovate this idea? A customer's bringing us an opportunity. Should we explore that opportunity? Let's say you came to us and say, "Hey, I want you to distribute Fresco Harmony," right?
Yeah.
Which you haven't done. Stupid you, but we'll get to that later. I'm just kidding.
The offer's on the table.
No, you got to come to us. But let's say you came to us and say, "Hey, we want Trim-Tex to distribute." You got warehouses all over the world. We want you to two-step or distribute our product. That would have to go through the governing body of Vinylworks. So Mike Mike is the leader of Vinylworks. So he's a very, very important part of who we are at Trim-Tex.
Okay.
But I did want to say, I want to finish the original question.
Yeah.
I want to finish the original question. So remember the question you just asked me, okay?
Yep.
So the challenge is for drywallers, there's hundreds of drywallers, finishers and installers, because you got the carpenters union, you got the finishers union, you got your independents that do both.
Yeah.
So you've got all your professionals out there that there's hundreds of them that have fallen in love with 11 ways to finish a corner, with small chamfer bead, with big chamfer bead, with the steppable. We had 3 sizes of steppable. We have 2 sizes of chamfer bead. We have 3 sizes of bullnose bead. We have got the reveal corner bead. Excuse me. We had the niche bead. So we had 11 or 12 different ways, and of course a square corner bead, a 90 corner bead in various sizes. We had 11 or 12 different ways to finish a corner.
Yep.
There was hundreds of people that got into that and tried it and liked it, but the dealers didn't stock it. It got frustrating for them.
Yeah.
They eventually said, screw it. Or the homeowner, the trends changed. The homeowners didn't want it, whatever the reasons. So when we sell a product for 5 years, we look at the trend. And if it's stagnant and if it's just staying flat, we put it on the gray watch list. So we put it on a watch list and then we give it 3 years. So then we start pushing it a little harder and we try to get it to start climbing again. And if we can't get it to climb after 3 years of work, or it's declining, it's already hit its peak, we then take a vote on discontinuing it. So that doesn't mean we will never make it again. We're just discontinuing it currently. We keep the tooling. We have the tooling to make all those products. Good. So if you got a huge job where you need X amount, you need a lot of product. Yeah. You would go to L&W or whoever, FBM or whoever, or you're independent. Yep. You would go to them and you would say, hey, I want to buy 40 boxes of steppable. Yeah. I'm doing 7 houses. We'll make it for you. Yep. It's not a problem, but it's not in stock in California anymore. It's not in stock in Toronto. It's not in stock in Calgary. It's not in stock in Lincolnwood, Illinois. It's just unfortunate. But in the final part of this equation is it's unfortunate because, we had some momentum, but it just wasn't enough momentum to keep it going. Doesn't mean it was a bad product. No. Doesn't mean it was a bad idea. No. There's thousands of good ideas that never sell. In fact, 10% of all patented products, there's 7 million patents that have been issued from the US Patent Office, 7 million patents in 100 years, and only 10% of them have ever made money. Yep. So it's not that we were stupid or we didn't know how to sell it. It's it's the luck of the draw. It's just the way it works.
I'll buy that. Yep.
Not all good ideas come to fruition. Now, sometimes 50 years later, it comes to fruition. I mean, maybe, maybe corduroy bell bottoms are going to be in vogue in 2023.
Well, I think too, there's something to be said for when a product is like tenacity. Like I tell people I should have given up years ago. I've been doing colored joint compound for 17 years. We've been selling the product for 8-9 years now. And by all rights, I should, but mine's the opposite. I don't think I'm marketing to the full potential. There's things like the AWCI, circling back around to that question. There's angles and directions, particularly in this industry, that if you're not going in that direction, you're going to have a lot of challenges. I mean, tenacity will only take you so far, but then all this, at a certain point, you got to play ball, and to take it to the next level. The distributors that we're in are selling, so that's encouraging. The distributors sell. Now, how do I get to more distributors? That's it. And in an industry that is I'll say resistant to change. I mean, it's not like
Yeah. It's so resistant to change. Metal corner bead was invented 100 years ago. Vinyl corner bead was invented 50 years ago by Trim-Tex. We're still fighting the fight. We're still converting. So the advice that I could give you is, yes, it is a slow changing, stubborn mindset industry. You know, joining the AWCI, my father joined the AWCI pretty early on.
Right.
And when back in the day when it was 800 members or something like that, 50 years ago.
Sure.
So, but then he got the mailing list for all 836 members, and then he started going to the shows. And that's where it really did well. He didn't have a sales team back then. He actually, had a couple of reps going. And when I came back to the company 30 years ago, full time, I mean, I was back and forth when I was a teenager. I kind of learned, the business at 14, through high school. And then I went off to California. But when I came back, in 89, over 30 years ago, he was able to then go selling. He knew that I had what it took to run operations and run the factory. And we had 7 extrusion lines at that time when I came back.
Well, you bring up a good point.
He went off selling.
This stuff takes time. I have one guy that's out, doing the work. Right. I do all the sales. I do all the shipping. I have one partner. I have a girl that works in here part-time.
Right.
It's lean, and as I make sales, but like to put the energy into something like a podcast, I can't be out there putting mud on the wall.
Well, yeah, you're going to learn that because, what happened was I was able to excel at operations. My dad was excelling at selling because he was passionate about the product. And he's a great salesperson. There's no doubt about it.
He was a door-to-door guy, right?
Yeah, he could sell ice cubes to Eskimos. There's no question about it. My dad's 88 years old. He's living in Fort Myers, Florida. So if you're down in Fort Myers and you want to go to lunch with him, let me know. I'll try to connect you up.
Sure. My dad just moved to Cape Coral.
There you go. That's right there. So there's he's made a lot of friends in the industry. So that was the key to what we did. And then we really stepped up our trade show presence. We did 7 trade shows a year. We did the Custom Home Show. We did the International Builders Show. We did some regional shows. We did the AWCI, which is our industry show. We did we did the Siska show. Back then, AWCI and Siska, that's the ceiling systems.
Yeah.
People, sometimes they're combined, sometimes they're fighting and they're not combined. But we did all those shows. We spent millions of dollars on it every year. We spent $2-3 million on advertising.
Okay.
And we really put a great effort to build a brand, to build a company, to build the awareness of the products, and to create conversion from metal or conversion to a new idea. We have 30 patented products. None of those could ever be made from metal because they've got gaskets on them or they're expansion products or what have you. So, we can make extrusions and profiles for you that you can't make out of metal, co-extrusion, tri-extrusion, whatever. So, we've just got that experience and, we've got that level of expertise. And we have the type of material that really lends itself to, solving, being aesthetically nice or solving expansion problems or deflection problems on ceilings. And now we have a huge range of fire and sound products that, some of them can be made in metal, but really not with a gasket on them. So you got to stick a gasket to the metal. We can extrude a gasket right on ours. So the point that I'm trying to make here is the contractors that are interested, they have challenges on finding distribution that will get them connected to the products they need. And sometimes it's hit and miss. Sometimes it's the stubbornness on the dealer's point of view. Because they go to central purchasing and purchasing is not interested, whatever the reason. It simply could be It could be the contractor stubbornness. It could be the dealer stubbornnness, and it could be the manufacturer stubbornness. Sometimes we can be stubborn and say, yeah, we're not interested in that. That just doesn't fit our future. It doesn't mean we can't make it. It's just not a fit for what we are trying to do. It's a distraction. I know you had to answer the doorbell and collect that $100,000 that was owed to you, but this is, we got to focus here.
We got it.
Focus. So my advice to a guy like you or someone that's coming up with a new tool, that is a good product and a good idea. I was telling you the story, the challenges of distribution, the stubbornness levels and all of that stuff. Now, let me just say this. I believe in your product, Nick.
Thank you.
I have your product in my home. I have it. Okay.
That's
I have
good.
the ceiling of my master bedroom. It has your product on it. I see it every day. The bathroom, master bathroom has it on the wall.
Let me stop you really quick, because that ceiling in the master bedroom, that's a big deal. Because I agree with you. Every time when I lay down to go to sleep at night, I don't have to look at that ugly ass skip trowel texture. I get to look at nice, smooth, sort of undulating Fresco Harmony, and it's soothing. And that sounds stupid, but it's a thing.
Well, I have the blue. I have more of a sky blue.
Okay.
And, the blue makes me happy, and it is very soothing. And I have your product here at Trim-Tex. The next office to mine, Donna Ramirez is our customer service manager. We have Fresco Harmony on the wall of her office.
What color?
Yeah. The umber, one of the beiges. I don't remember exactly.
One of the So she wanted a wall in Fresco Harmony?
Yeah. I'm touching the wall. The other side of this wall, right behind me, the other side of that wall has got Fresco on it.
I got to meet Donna. She's no dummy.
No, she knows her shit. So, but the advice I can give you is, you've proven you got a good product. You've proven that, people like it. So now the next step is you're going to have to find a two-stepper that can take you to other parts of the United States.
Yeah.
And also, other parts of the world.
Yes.
But you are going to have to join the AWCI, because this is the Association of Walls and Ceilings, which is what your product is applied to. They put it on the floor, put it on the walls and ceilings.
Right.
And, you're going to have to get out and go sell. You're going to have to, trust your team to fill the boxes and, get the shipments out. You're going to have to expand your team that applies the product in your state. And I know that you do a lot of good work. There's nothing wrong with doing both, selling a product and installing a product. Many people have done that. We don't do it, but we certainly help you. We have 10 technical reps that go out and help on job sites all over the world every day. So we are technically out there installing product. We're just, more or less showing. But that would be my advice.
I don't know why joining the AWCI never really occurred to me until just now talking to you about it. I went to Intex. I was there. I was like, this is weird. They only give you like 10 hours on the floor to talk to these guys. I'm carpet bagging, which you're not supposed to do, of course.
Right.
But who gives a shit? Like, I'm kind of a hard ass that way. And I'm a guerrilla marketeer. Like, if I don't see the value, this is guerrilla marketing. Like, I'm taking advantage of this podcast is going to go on Drywall Hand Finishers, which reaches 100,000 drywallers for zero money.
Right.
So that is how I've done it, like bootstrapping. And that is different than, paying to play.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Which is what we did.
Yeah.
And you're just in a chapter that's doing that. You could get to the next chapter that could be improved and better or different, whatever.
Yeah.
The carpet bagging, you are considered a carpetbagger when you're walking around the show with your Fresco Harmony shirt on. You didn't pay to play.
Well, I paid to get there, and there is an entry fee.
Right. But you could have got if you called me, you could have got a Trim-Tex badge or something like that. But you can get in there for free pretty much if you want to do it the right way. But I think the next level is consider to join those associations.
Okay.
And then do a tabletop at a show. Share a tabletop with someone. Split a booth with someone.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, you could pool up with someone who had a 10-foot booth. Maybe you could get a table in the a little round table in the corner of the booth, and you talk about your product. So take a quarter of their booth, pay a third of the price.
I've done home shows here in Albuquerque, and they are valuable. I think having a booth at Intex now what's the discount? Like if I get a booth at Intex and I'm an AWCI member, there's got to be a substantial discount there.
Well, you can't get a booth if you're not a member, so there's no discount. No.
There you go.
No, you feel violated when you're done with the trade show. Trust me, there's nothing happy about the cost of a trade show. The happiness is, the relationships that you build. Person with a tool, a person with a product that, in your aspect, you're all about aesthetics. You're not really a solution. You're a solution for maybe better aesthetics.
Yeah.
But a person like you, or a guy with a new knife, or a guy or a gal with a new widget that helps, do whatever, what you're going to do at a show is you're going to see several hundred contractors that go to the show, and you're going to get, and the light bulb is going to go off. They're going to walk down aisle 6 and they're like, oh, what's this guy? What's with those little bottles? I mean, is that milk in there? No, that's colored mud. That's a concentrate for colored mud.
Mm-hmm.
Look what you could do on your next project. Every floor of the hotel that you're building, the elevator lobby, the elevators open up. And you can, instead of spending all this money, you could do a little Trim-Tex detail, a little layer detail, and some Fresco on there. And you've got the $1 million look for no money. Zero. I mean, you're talking of one bottle of Fresco and and $30 worth of Trim-Tex and 4 sheets of drywall. You've got, notice how I horned in on the conversation there. But,
absolutely. As you should. This is a Trim-Tex interview, but it is sponsored by Fresco Harmony. And
there you go. So,
and I know
I'm just giving, we're having a lot of fun here. We're going to talk till like 3:00, but that's what you're going to see at the show. Those are the relationships you're going to build. You're not really going to get a dealer network excited, because they're never excited until somebody asks for it. Then
this is gold. I mean, this is all gold, Joe. I mean, you don't understand. Like for somebody like me or Corey. Corey's a fantastic guy, and I encourage you to listen to the podcast. I also encourage you to listen to have the sales guy. Who's the sales guy? Son-in-law,
Mike Garcia.
Mike. I encourage him to check out the Drywall Podcast too. You're number.
Oh, we will.
You're number 5.
Yeah,
I'm plowing through interviews.
Yeah, we will. We will.
They are very cool. They're very cool. And I have a different. This is the platform with all of the guys that I interview. So you can imagine like interviewing. I want to do Brian Kitchen and Bernie. There's a lot of great applicators and innovators and people in this industry that get overlooked.
Yeah.
That like sometimes it's the president of this, or it's the the aficionado of that, and drywall guys want to hear about the other dudes that are using the slop box versus the banjo. That's kind of what they want to hear,
right?
Or they want to hear about motorsports. The interview with Walls and Ceilings magazine was fantastic, and I don't know those guys well enough. I was thinking it would be very cool to do an interview with Hannah. Like she's young, she's hungry, she's coming in, she's a good journalist. Just talk to her about. She's on the list. I've got like 55 people on my list.
Hannah. Jill is great. Everyone at Walls and Ceilings, Amy Tuttle, Jill, Hannah. But Hannah has got a cool story about her dad, how she came in through, dad was in the trades and stuff. And, she's this journalist, this highly educated, fantastic young journalist. And guess what? She ends up in the drywall industry.
Yeah, it's like, so, why in the world? Why aren't you working for Rolling Stone or something?
I know, but everyone's got a cool story. But again, just advice to people like yourself that want to get out there. There's many ways to skin the cat. Side note, my marketing team wants to work with you about your podcast. We want to feature it. We want to put it on all our social media. So we want to help make your podcast, not only my interview, all the interviews.
Yeah.
We want to make your podcast as big a success as we can, because I
appreciate that.
If we didn't like you, we wouldn't do that.
Well, I like you too. And this is though this synergy is how things to me get done. This is how new ideas get pushed to the forefront. This is how the world should work. Like, and just all that other stuff out of the way, making money and all that stuff. The bottom line with Fresco Harmony is I was a drywaller and it bored the shit out of me. And I was also an artist, and we did a plaster project, and I was like, why aren't they doing this with mud? Why aren't they just doing this with colored joint compound? Why do I have to be a plaster guy? Right. This isn't rocket science, man. Right. And so this system that's now simple, gives the drywall guy, just like me, the opportunity to diversify their product line and create something dynamic that they didn't have a chance to before. I get to work with high-end designers. I get to charge whatever I want. There's 2 or 3 other guys in Albuquerque doing this, and it's only because I've promoted them through the builder.
You trained
them. I've shot myself in the foot so that these other guys can make money.
As long as they're using your concentrated colors,
yes,
you haven't shot yourself in the foot.
But there's been instances where the builder's like, do you want me to go with you, or do you want me to use my guy? And I'm like, use your guy. And so I've lost out on $10,000 job to sell $1,000 worth of product. That's my point. Right.
And that's smart. That's to me, that's a smart way to go, because if you get 100 of those guys going, okay, then you're going to be too busy to sling mud ever again. You're just going to do it to train people, and you're going to do it to showcase your product, but you're really not going to take those jobs anymore. But we've got 16 winners of our Drywall Artist of the Year contest. Okay, Bernie Mitchell was one of them.
Yep.
Any one of those 16 winners, would probably is using your product right now.
Fun fact about one of your winners, Wolf. Is it Tom Wolf?
Okay, from
Tom out of Grand Junction, Colorado.
Yeah.
Tom, what's his last? Tomahawk Drywall. Fun fact about Tom with Tomahawk Drywall. He went into, and this is how we've gotten all our distribution. He went into Out West Drywall in Grand Junction and told Billy, he's like, I shouldn't be telling you this, but you need to carry Fresco Harmony. And that's how we got into Out West Drywall in Colorado. Was because he was super cool and was like, you should carry this product.
And he's a super cool guy that uses a crap load of Trim-Tex. He's very creative. He won our Drywall Artist of the Year.
Yep.
And, we're a kind of a community on the aesthetic side. It's a smaller community, but I think it's a very passionate community. And you're going to hit more and more of those people as you get more worldwide. They're out there. There's no question about it.
Yep. Well, the other side of it,
you are lucky that you have a product that, that can just ship from an EStore. So, you are lucky about that.
And you know how many people told me that I needed to package it into a heavy box of mud and sell it as one unit. And I've told them, No, like, like the fact that I can send you right now a color pack for $10 in a one rate shipping box is
Yeah.
like, that is like, it's like having a laser gun in the Civil War. It's very powerful,
Right.
you
And
know?
when I say for you, two-stepper, I'm talking about, you know, maybe our connection in the UK, our connection in Australia, our connection in Canada. So,
Yep.
you know, maybe you do want to have your product in stock in Ontario, you know.
Absolutely. No,
So
we're
that it's instead of 6-day delivery, it's a 2-day delivery. So, you know, that's the two-stepping opportunity that, you know, that you would look for. You know, your tool people, you know, that's the people that invent the new widgets. It's a little harder. You know, yeah, you can get on all wall, you can get on wall tools, and you can get on a few of those Ailes taping tools and a few of those other online sellers. You can get it in there, you know, and that's kind of the way to go. But
yeah.
you know, you're kind of limited on, you know, how much they promote your product. Is it on page 700 or is it on the first page? You know, does anyone ever going to see it unless they scroll through 700 pages of, you know, stuff? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's a tough go. But you know what? Trim-Tex started that way. We started with the J bead 53 years ago in a little bit smaller industry back then. But
Yeah.
you know, 20 years ago, there was 2,500 dealers in the US. Now there's 1,500. So there's been a lot of consolidation happening.
Oh,
Um,
that is interesting. And I know so it was a dealer that came to your dad and said, "Hey, man, can you make us some trim?" And your dad
yes.
was like, "Hell yeah."
Yeah. My dad was in the siding business in 68, and two dealers got together and said, look, this is a guy in Chicago making a J bead for siding because the siding slips into a J bead. Let's go approach him and see if he can make one specifically for drywall. And they approached him and he said, yeah. And that's
Was
where
there
it
a
all,
J bead? Was there a J bead, a metal J bead out at the time?
oh, absolutely.
So
Yes. There's still,
why were they fed up with the metal J bead at that time?
well, because around a window, the J bead was used primarily around a window, but in anywhere where it's cold, the window would sweat in the wintertime. Water would run down and would rust.
It would rust.
Yeah, you'd have the cold transfer through, and then, you
Yep.
know, so
So
the vine,
the moisture would wick underneath the mud, and then
yeah,
and then it ruins your interior. So even
right.
if the moisture wicks underneath the mud with a vinyl, it doesn't, it won't delam or discolor.
It won't rust, right? So yeah, and it's less likely to. So the moisture will only wick if the the J bead is cold. So the metal would transfer the cold instantly. So take a
Yeah.
2 foot. Next time you're on a job site, take a piece of metal corner bead that you find on the floor and take a piece of plastic Trim-Tex and go start up a blowtorch and hold two of
Heat
those.
one in.
So you'll drop the metal piece in about 2 seconds, okay? And you can hold the plastic piece forever. It's never going to get hot. The part in your hand isn't going to get hot. So the thermal conductivity transfer in vinyl is almost nothing. In metal, it's instant. It's absolutely instant. Yeah.
Right. I learned a good trick when I was at the Trim-Tex training, when we did that training, which we need to do another one. So this
Why wouldn't we?
this inspires me. Like, I want to get up there and do another training, and like we could advertise it. And you know, last time it was like, you don't want too many people and stuff like that. I get it, but it was a lot of fun. And I remember, I think Noe, we did a little experiment with your spray adhesive, and I've told that trick probably 50 times because I get asked. Because now, instead of sanding the mud off of the corner with the colored mud, you go around the corner. So
Right.
one way to keep that mud from delamming from the corner bead is to run spray adhesive on the corner.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that one trick is fantastic. Just you know, for all the drywallers out there, mud will adhese like nobody's business to vinyl if you put.
So it was called Tex 11. Of course, it got dropped. It's been discontinued because the sales weren't great. But you could take a 3M 77, which is a fine mist,
Yep.
And you could mist anything, metal or vinyl, with a little bit of adhesive, and then you'll have a perfect bond for
So
plaster.
what do the numbers mean on the outside of the spray adhesives? Is
Oh,
that
that's
that
a
that's
marketing thing.
that's a
Marketing.
marketing thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 3M
Awesome.
77. We called ours 847 simply because that was our area code at the time. So
Okay.
when you called Trim-Tex, it was 847-679-3000. I'll throw this to you. Why don't you consider coming back to Trim-Tex, Lincolnwood, Illinois, put together a sales trip out here where you're going to go visit some or do another training. You can have another training at our facility, training
Right.
facility. But why don't we do a live? Why don't we do a live podcast? We'll sit down in our studio and we'll get some cameras rolling.
Sure.
And maybe we'll wear our best Hawaiian shirts that day. You know,
Okay.
let's do a sit down. We'll sit down. We'll throw some cameras on. And I did that with Drywall Talk. You know.
Oh yeah, drywall talk like
I
that.
did that with Brian. Precision taping, and all
Yeah.
that. I did that with Brian. We sat down up in Sudbury, Ontario, and we talked. And we did a couple of. I think he did three different short sessions on that little interview, and it was fun. It was fun talking about the challenges. And Trim-Tex, we love the contractor. We're all about the contractor.
Yeah.
We're the little guy. We're the smallest little company in a big forest of drywall industry. You know, all of our competitors are giants, and we're just this tiny little sapling tree. We're old. We're 53 years old, but we're just a little sapling tree against the giant sequoias out there. And I like to say the contractor, a lot of contractors feel that way. It's just me against the world. You know, I'm up here slinging mud or running a bazooka or doing whatever, you know, for the big guy. I just want to let you know that we care about you. We care about you. We want to talk to you. We want to hear what you're thinking. A lot of our ideas and products that have been, come to fruition that we've innovated. A lot of the products that we've innovated through the years has come from face-to-face meetings on job sites. Ideas, light bulbs go off. Joe Koenig and Noe Perez were on a job site. Bing, a light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
A week later, we're on a different job site. Bing, another light bulb goes off. So we want to thank all you contractors, and we want to let you guys know that we care about you. You're the lifeblood of this industry. And we feel that we're in the trenches with you. We're the little sapling tree against the sequoias, just like you're the little sapling tree out there in the world, you know, doing what you do best. And
against EFIS and like some, you know, I mean, even like USG, and I mean they're huge, you know, and I'm making a name for myself.
Right.
You beat me to the punch. I was going to ask you if you could instill one bit of wisdom or a billboard, a slogan that could go on a billboard to say to all the drywall guys listening right now. What would it be?
Well, I would billboards about four bullet points. You know, try not to be stubborn, be open-minded, align yourself with people that think like you do. Hopefully, it's me and Nick and a bunch of others like us. Be dedicated, work hard, play hard. You know, that's a Trim-Tex deal. Just don't give up, but don't get frustrated with the stubbornness out there. You know, be a leader. Let people follow you. Don't be a follower, be a leader, and surround yourself with other people with the same mindset, same mentality, I should say.
Yeah.
And it's no different than a friend group. I mean, you got 50 friends and, 48 of them are, you're aligned pretty good. You always got a couple outliers that, you haven't kicked out of your group or you're going to kick out of your group. But, surround yourself with good, smart, like-minded people and have at it. Don't take no for an answer. Just keep plugging away, man, and just keep fighting the fight. We're here for you. And align yourself with good companies, that
Yeah.
care about you.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't settle for those douchebag employers that just milk you for everything you're worth and kick you to the curb.
Yeah. And why put up steel? I mean, just a little bit of Trim-Tex here. Why put up a metal corner bead where the steel comes from India, and it's roll formed in Idaho or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Why not put up 100% US based product,
Yep.
100% PVC, manufactured in Lincolnwood, Illinois? Why not put the money back into the US? Why not use locally sourced products? Why not help Nick out and start putting some Fresco? If you're not going to put it on your customers, put it in your own house. It's stuff is nice. I have it in Joe Koenig has it in his own house.
And it's simple.
And Nick's got Trim-Tex in his own house. So, we're living what I'm preaching. We are living what I'm preaching. Work together, help each other out. Why not? Right? Why not help each other out?
Yep. I love the 350 bowl, the step return. I have a chair rail that I built that has the step return. It's a 4-inch chair rail. It's simple. Yeah. I did an etching on it. It was like, it took me an afternoon. It wasn't a big deal. And it looks every bit as good as a piece of wood I could have thrown up there.
Yeah. And with the steppable, you've got an edge. You can float off of an edge. You got a paint line. You can change the paint color off a sharp edge. So that's why the chamfer bead is so good. You can change the paint color from room to room. Yeah. You're working off a sharp edge. Regular bullnose. It's really hard to change color from room to room. You got to actually use you got to tape it off, and you got to hope the line is straight. Why not use a corner bead that has a sharp edge on it to do your transition?
And it just looks prettier, man. It brings that what I like is that it brings a super subtle Victorian element to the project. Right. And it's not overbearing. It's not grandiose. That part I really like. It's very tasteful.
Yeah.
Joe Koenig of Trim-Tex, second generation. There's third generation coming. Trim-Tex is not going to go away anytime soon. These guys are plowing the way in innovation in the drywall industry, and also ethics in business. I think we've covered a lot of that, and
thank you.
I appreciate your time, Joe. I really do. This has been my favorite interview so far, and it sounds like I'm going to be getting together with your marketing people, and we're going to be putting together another training, because that's long overdue.
Yeah. Well, you and I talked. Well, first of all, thank you for the kind words. And ethics is a big part of who we are. There's no question about it. It's one of my key words in life. Ethics is a big part of what drives me. And you never have to remember a lie. Okay, so why not just speak the truth? And right? That's a good saying, right? If you lie to someone, you bullshit someone, then the next time you see him, you go, oh shit, what did I tell that guy? You got to remember what you told them. Why not just speak the truth and, treat people nice? So that's who we are. I want to do another podcast with you about products. We got some exciting new products that we're working on here at Trim-Tex.
Okay.
So maybe we could do that when you visit here.
Yeah.
We could do a like a triple header. You could do a training. We could do a Trim-Tex event. Yep. And you and I can do another podcast and talk about products, and we can sit down and just, showcase the products and all that stuff.
It would be like, just a camera. All we do is just set up a camera, and you and I would just be sitting there, and we'd have a little mic in between us, and it would be, it'd be casual and super simple. And then you take that and edit it down, and your people could edit it and throw it up, or I could edit it or whatever. But
we'll have little samples of products, and I can, we can definitely shoot in some CG, computer graphics and all that stuff. But I would love to do Drywall Podcast let's call it since this is number 5, let's call it number 25 or 15.
Yeah, okay.
Let's set that in motion for the fall, maybe, or the winter, because you definitely want to come to Chicago in the wintertime. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of new things that we're working on that speed up your life, simplify your life, and and you can finish ceiling details, head of wall details. You can finish with a lot less physicality. And as a drywaller, why would you not want to have less physicality? I think everybody wants that. So
well, and that if I have one regret for this interview, it wouldn't be getting, because I know you are big into product innovation, and I am too, and that's fun stuff to talk about. But I mean, we could talk till 3:00 today.
I know. I gotta go because I'm taking a 35-year employee, Tom Stawicini. I'm taking Tom out to lunch.
Nice.
He's been here 35 years. He's one of our leaders out in the operations of the deal. First shift. Manufacturing, super guy. He started here when he was 18 years old, and 35 years later, we're going to have lunch. So I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you. I think you're doing a great job, and I love the vault behind you. It's been catching my eye as we're talking. So
I like the backdrop too. I got the bamboo and the vault. It's like stability.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have a great day, Nick. Take care.
All right, you too, bud. Talk to you soon.
All right. Talk soon.
Special thanks to Joe Koenig of Trim-Tex Drywall for your time today. Thank you for joining the Drywall Podcast. The Drywall Podcast is brought to you by Fresco Harmony, making walls better since 2004. Join us for our next podcast when we interview John Zulke and talk to him a little bit about plaster and the drywall industry. I'm your host, Nick Harmon. Thank you so much for joining the Drywall Podcast. We'll see you on the next episode. And remember, keep drywalling.